Well, hello, everybody. It's your friend James Shaw. Thanks for joining us on Pivot Shift Ahead. I'm excited because I've gotten to know our guest today over the last couple of months. And this woman is legit rock star talent. I don't say that because you like work with rock stars. You're like Biffles with Taylor Swift or whatever. But absolute amazing stuff. And people watching have probably seen you in different places because you've done different stuff inside the real estate community before. But Brittany Hodak is with us today on Pivot Shift Ahead. Brittany, introduce yourself to everybody.
Thank you, James. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me into this pivot community. I am a keynote speaker and an author who is obsessed with teaching people how to create their own super fans, which are really just customers who come back and tell their friends.
That's what we need. It's all about database. To succeed in real estate, you need to succeed with a database. It's much easier if your people think you're awesome and they love you and they want to do repeat business with you and send all their people to you. And that's why you're a perfect person to be on here. Your book coming out the first of the year is called SuperFans, and it's going to be a bestseller. I'm just telling you right now, you already know this. And you're going to you're basically giving us a preview of the model of kind of what the book covers, right, Brittany? Is that the plan?
That is the plan. I hope it will be a bestseller. I've worked so hard on this book. I have been working in the entertainment industry and various other industries for the past 20 years and spent the past probably 10 years really trying to formulate how it is that somebody goes from a potential commodity provider to a category leader or maybe even a category of one. And the book Creating Superfans is that methodology. It's that process of getting somebody to be so impressed with the experience of working with you that they can't wait to experience again. And they're out there creating more customers for you because they're a loyal advocate. So the book is called Creating Superfans. It's in stores on January 10th, although you can pre-order it now and you totally should. And we're going to walk through the main framework of the book today.
I love it. So it's all based off this thing you call the super model, which is, I think, super fun. I just think of that song by RuPaul every time we talk about this, but it's all off the super model. And super has, stands for stuff. So I thought what we could do today is walk through it. Now, those of you who are Inspire members with us, that's my private mastermind community. We've already actually gone deep on the S, and Brittany's covered that. And then we're spending, Brittany's going to visit our private VIP mastermind community over the next 4 months to go through the rest. But I thought for everyone in Pivot, let's give them an overview. And then for those that want to go deeper, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can join our Inspire VIP mastermind community. But Brittany, walk us through Super.
I love the way you put it. Super stands for stuff. Yes, it absolutely does. Super is an acronym. And before I get into it, I just have to say, I was so impressed with the members in Inspire, how they were able to take what we talked about and tell their own stories through the lens of what their superpower is. And just seeing over the past few weeks, people sharing examples of reconnecting with people from high school or college or somebody they sold a house to 8 or 9 or 10 years ago, just from the stories that they were telling and how they were posting on social media, really made my heart happy and really made me so excited for the next 4 installments of our super series with your Inspire group.
Well, I love that you did. I was proud of them too to watch them. I always say you had to go from inspiration to perspiration, and those members, those people in our Inspire community did that. Many of them did, and got leads from it. By the way, from what we went real deep on that Inspire call. So I love it. Thank you. Well, can you walk those of us here on Pivot a little bit through Super so they know what it means, and we can give them an overview of what to expect?
Yeah, I absolutely can. And all of this is based on the idea that experience is everything, meaning experience is the number one way to differentiate yourself from everyone else who does what you do, everyone else in your market who's saying, let me have your listing or let me help you find find a home. So experience is everything. And I think we know that instinctually as customers. We know we're not in a world where it's just about the product or the service anymore. It's about the total package. But the inverse of that is so true. And it's what people forget. Everything is experience. Every interaction, every phone call, every text message, all of those things together add up to the totality of the experience that you have with someone. And they're the things that you think about. And when somebody says, what was your experience like working with that agent? Or what was your experience buying a house or selling your home? It may not be like those things that somebody is spending the most time on. It may be the fact that they felt like an agent rushed them off the phone. It may be the fact that even though it was, they had to go through like 7 or 8 contracts before they finally got a home, they were made to feel really well taken care of and like really well respected and taken care of. So everything is experience, every single part of the interaction. And the supermodel is, in addition to being something fun to make you think about RuPaul, is a framework that I use to sort of encapsulate all of the things that you can keep top of mind to create your own superfans. So I like to say, if you want to create superfans, being great is no longer good enough. You've got to be super. And what that means is S, start with your story. And when I say start with your story, I don't mean lead with your story. I don't mean you should be out there being like, hey, I'm a realtor. Hey, I'm a realtor in every interaction that you have. What I mean is that every message that you put out into the world needs to align with your why, with your superpower, with your North Star. Why are you the absolute best person to help your prospects and customers? Because if you don't know the answer to that, how in the world are they ever going to be able to figure it out, right? If you don't know what makes you the absolute best in the world, you're not going to be able to articulate your superpowers in a way that's going to connect and resonate with people. So that's the first part of the supermodel, is really getting clear on what differentiates you from everyone else, what your uniquenesses are. We talked in the Inspire call about uncovering your origin story, what it is in your past that led you to where you're at right now in this career, in this moment. So that's S.
Yeah, and I loved it because when we did that exercise, we went deep on that. We spent an hour with you on it, just the S. And the ahas people had to be able to really kind of own their origin story and share that with others was a way to, I think what they found was it made them more real to the people in their database. It wasn't just their agent who they call. Wait, what's our realtor's name again? Like, this is a person. This is somebody that is passionate about real estate, and they explained a little bit about why. That can be a hard thing to figure out. So I appreciated that exercise to really help them, like you said, find your North Star, find your passion, but share that with others too. That seemed important.
Thank you. Yeah, it is important, because if people don't understand what makes you different from anyone else out there, you're going to be competing on commodity based decisions, right? And factors. You've got to show them why you're unique and special and best. And what was really interesting with the Inspire members was seeing how varied those answers were. Like, some people knew from the time they were kids that they wanted to help people buy and sell houses because they loved going to open houses when they were kids. Other people were like, oh, I just, decided to do this 5 or 6 years ago because I had a terrible experience buying a house, and I don't want anyone to go through that again. So your story is not like the story of anyone else.
You talking about keeping you from being a commodity. Commodity is about price. At the end of the day, they're going to go and look and go, well, that agent's cheaper than that agent, and as far as I'm concerned, they pretty much all do the same, so I'm going to take the cheaper one. And you become a commodity of one where nobody cares. Nobody cares how much it is. They know that you're the one that can help them, and so they're all in on you. I love it. All right, let's talk about you. What's you?
You is understand your customer story. I like to say that superfans are created at the intersection of your story and every customer story. So after you get really clear on yours, the next logical step is to really understand your customer story. And there's a quote I really love from Teddy Roosevelt. He said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So it's this idea of empathy and authority. And oftentimes we lead with authority before we get to empathy. But if you can lead with empathy and curiosity and then have that authority come as the second punch behind it, you're going to find so much success. So in our next deep dive with Inspire, we'll be going really deep on, this is kind of like the turducken of customer experience frameworks because it's an acronym within an acronym, but we actually use the acronym of STORY to help get really clear on how to really understand those customers.
I'm looking forward to it. It's appropriate, turducken, because we're doing this 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So our Inspire members, November 16th is when Brittany will be back to do this deep dive on understand your customer story. And I love leading with empathy over authority. It'd be really easy to here's what your house is worth, and here's what I think, how long I think it's going to take, versus really understanding why they're selling, what's important to them about it, how it helps them, kind of meeting them there. So I think it's great. I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and
Um,
as your volume gets higher and higher, it can be easy to lose sight of the fact that this isn't just another transaction for that prospect on the other end of the phone. This is their lives. This is their livelihood. This is the single most important asset that they have in their life, and where they're going to call home for the next few decades with their family. And it's hard to keep that top of mind sometimes when your volume is growing and growing and growing. But you really have to, because that empathy is what can make or break every single one of those relationships you're trying to build.
all right, start with your story, understand your customer's story. That's where, opportunity shows up as the intersection of those two. Let's keep going. What's the U? No, what's the P?
The P is personalize, and that's where those two come together. So, as I said, your story and your customer story, that intersection, by knowing both of those, what you can do is personalize your approach. And I'm a huge fan of something called the platinum rule. If you are listening to this or watching this and you haven't read the platinum rule, I highly recommend it. It's a book by Dr. Tony Alessandra. And what he argues is we all grew up with the golden rule: treat others the way we want to be treated, which is a great rule. But the platinum rule takes it one step further. It says, don't treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat them the way they want to be treated, because not everyone wants the same things that you do. And all of you out there watching this in real estate world, you know this to be true, right? You have some customers who only want you to call on the phone. You have other ones that only seem to know how to use email, others that are texting you or DMing you. That's, of course, just one very small example with communication. But to the extent that you can personalize things about your customer's journey with you, their interactions with you, what you're doing is making it easier for them to work with you, which in turn makes the experience better and makes them refer more people to you because they say, wow, that was easy. So P is all about personalizing the experience that you provide based on the needs of your customers.
Seems like that they might say, I felt like that person really got me. They listened to me. They understood what I wanted. Is there a key question or something we should think about to understand how to best personalize an experience for someone?
Yeah, there's lots of key questions, and they're really around preferences. Saying to people, hey, what's the best time for me to contact you? What's the easiest way for me to contact you? How do you like to get your information? How do you want to see listings? How should I keep you updated? All of those things, right? And it's not just making an assumption that, oh, everybody's going to want to send me all of their, banking information digitally or whatever it is, right? Actually asking questions to let people choose their own adventure, if you will.
Are you a bit of obsessed with just like knowing as much as you can about something or someone so that you can make them feel like you know exactly how to communicate with them? I just get this sense that you want to know as much about somebody as possible so you can provide them a great experience.
I think that is fair. I don't know if I would say I'm a bit obsessed. I would say I'm like a lot obsessed, because it's so important. And P leads right into E, which is exceed expectations, and knowing a lot about the people whose lives you're trying to improve is a really great way to exceed their expectations. And one of the things about real estate that's so frustrating for those of you who are amazing realtors who've, invested the time and the energy to be really great at what you do is there are a lot of realtors who aren't that great at what they do, right? They've sort of just decided they're going to sell a couple homes a year or whatever. And sometimes they can give the rest of you a bad name, right? They can make people not have the highest expectations when they're coming into a situation. And maybe if you're watching this right now, you've been in a situation where somebody had low expectations because of something that had happened with a past partner. So you're sort of like paying for the sins of others because of how varied the scale is of the people who call themselves realtors.
Yeah, I mean, we don't always rank high on the list of, most admired jobs. So it's about exceeding expectations. I love it. What
Yeah.
if you are someone that offers really, really good service, like the expectation's already high? How do you exceed that? Because I think about this, we go to Disney all the time. It's 90 minutes from my house. And I go, a lot of people go, and the expectation is already way up here, and yet they've got to exceed that. So let's say that you provide great service and you have a reputation for that. How do you continue to exceed expectations?
You know, on the last day of her talk show, Oprah said that she'd interviewed like 10,000 people on the show and they all wanted the exact same thing. And that was validation. Everybody wants to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to feel like they matter, and making someone feel like they matter, like they're your most important customer, like they're the most important person in the world to you right now. That is how you exceed expectations. And I'm a huge believer that there's only 3 types of experiences that you can have in this world. At the end of any interaction, including at the end of watching this, you're going to feel one of 3 ways. You're going to feel better, worse, or exactly the same. I call those net negative, net neutral, or net positive. So to the extent that you can leave the people that you're interacting with, whether it's one-to-one, one to a few, one to many, it doesn't matter. If you can leave those people better than you found them, if you can give them a net positive experience, they're going to remember and they're going to come back, and they're probably going to tell their friends when given the opportunity. And if the bar is already high, then that's a challenge that you rise to by making people feel that validation and continuing to meet them at a service level to say, you matter. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that I have the honor of being on this journey with you.
Oh, that's so good. You're great. What's the R?
The R is repeat, which is really kind of like cheating, because it's really like taking something that you think is going to be 5 steps and just making it 4 steps that you do over and over again. So for anybody who is like 5 things to remember, that's so many. The good news is I just made it 20% easier for you. So you're welcome. The bad news is customer experience is not a set it and forget it. It's not something you can do one time and then reap the benefits forever and ever. Of course, there are systems and processes that you absolutely can and should use. We're going to be talking about a lot of them inside of the Inspire group, but repeat is really about the fact that as customers, we tend to have a little bit of what have you done for me lately syndrome with the people that we work with and the companies that we work with, especially on the services side. So, there's a great quote that I love from Elizabeth Arden. She said, repetition makes reputation, and reputation makes customers. So I'm a huge believer that in our lifetimes, technology won't replace most of the high touch jobs, including real estate. But those who embrace technology will 100% replace those who do not. So it's about leveraging technology to make some of the things that you're doing manually right now automated, to free up more of your time to focus on those things that can't yet be automated, making people feel as special as they are, going above and beyond to deliver to them by doing something special.
So blast texts and blast emails are not how you build relationship. It's not how you that's not the flow you want to be in a market that requires connection. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
nobody
saying?
ever became a super fan of somebody by getting put in the right drip campaign. Nobody was ever like, I was really on the fence until that one marketing funnel, and then I was in. But that's not to say those tools are bad or wrong. They can absolutely help you leverage that connection. Although the only time you should be showing up in the inboxes or DMs or text messages of your customers is when you have something valuable to say to them. Because again, that experience is either going to be a net negative, a net neutral, or a net positive. And you want it to be a net positive. You want to leave them better than you found them.
We're in a market, this year will be the second largest single year decline in transactions in history. We'll see a decrease of about 1.4 million units from 2021 to 2022. Now, 2021 was wild. It was a top 5 year in history. The largest one was 2006 to 2007. It was 1.5 million fewer units sold year over year. It seems like if the number of available transactions is declining, then the quality of your relationships and the experience becomes totally exposed. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think what you're going to see happen in 2023 and maybe even into 2024 is there are going to be some people who've, depended on volume in the past, who decide that maybe they need to go work in another industry because they're not going to win the jump balls anymore, right? There is a level of expectation that every customer is going to have of anyone those aren't the areas that we're talking about, like winning or losing with customer experience. It's going above and beyond. It's the ones that, customers are looking for something extra. They are looking for someone to do a better job. And that becomes a huge deciding factor, especially when the market is how it is right now. And customers are saying, you know what, I can be choosy because I know that you need me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. I'm so looking forward to continuing to go deeper. So for our Inspire members, again, we've got Brittany's coming November 16th, and we're going all in Understand Your Customer Story. And if anybody if you're an Inspire member and you missed the Start With Your Story, you just go watch the recording inside the Inspire Facebook group. And then if we have people watching on Pivot and you're like, oh my gosh, I want more of this, then reach out to me. I'll tell you how you can get involved in Inspire. Hey, what's your kind of, final pro tip that you'd give somebody about really creating an amazing experience so that the people run down the streets of their neighborhood going, this is my agent, this is who you've got to use? What's the pro tip for that?
I think the pro tip is just think about how you can make them feel really special and do that. And don't be afraid to ask. Like, when you've knocked it out of the park, those customers who just absolutely loved you. Talk to them about what you did that made the largest impact. It may be what you are expecting them to say, or it might be something totally different. I know that when I moved into my house 6 years ago, my realtor, Susie, was incredible. I've sent her probably like 9 or 10 customers since then. And she did so many little things. Like, we were moving from New York to Tennessee. She knew we loved country music. She knew I loved Cole Swindell. So she got a "Hey Y'all" welcome mat that was sitting outside when I walked in. There was a Tennessee branded candle sitting there burning. She had stocked the refrigerator with all of our favorites because she knew we were moving from out of state and would have nothing. She went on our socials, saw that I love Dr. Pepper, saw that my husband loves beef jerky and M&Ms and all these things, and had bought like all of our favorite foods. She had food then delivered for like 3 nights in a row so that we wouldn't have to worry about like what we were going to eat when we were trying to unpack boxes. So doing all of those things to make people feel valued and important. She did all of those things after she'd already sold us the house. Like, she'd already made her commission. That deal was already done. But instead of bouncing and being like, I'm on to the next, she doubled down and then tripled down and then quadrupled down to make us feel like we really mattered to her. Like, she wasn't just trying to sell us a house. She was trying to be that concierge for us in this new community that we were a part of. And because of that, she's become such an amazing friend. I joke that she's my fairy godmother because she's just fantastic. And she's gotten like a lot of referrals from us.
Yeah. I'm, doing the math. She easily could be $100,000 in revenue for her because she bought you some Dr. Pepper and a welcome mat. It's the simple things, but the awareness around the simple things that what sets you apart, and that's why I love everything you do. You know what I think about you. I think you're absolute elite level stuff, and thank you. I'm honored you'd come sit on Pivot Shift Ahead with us.
Oh my gosh, I am so honored to be here. Thank you for having me. I will come back anytime. And for anybody who wants to learn more, definitely come hang out with us and Inspire because it is so much fun. And pretty please pre-order my book. It doesn't just make an amazing read for you. It's a really great closing gift. So maybe order a few copies and give them out.
I love it. Tell them where they can find you because you're on the socials. You got your newsletter you send out, all that kind of stuff. Where can people connect with you, Brittany?
I am. You can just go to BrittanyHodak.com. You'll find it. I sort of won the SEO lottery when I married my husband. So I'm at Brittany Hodak on like every platform that is much less popular than my maiden name of Brittany Jones. So if you find an at Brittany Hodak anywhere, it's probably me.
But you did have Brittany Jones's diary, which we learned about, which was fantastic. So you still had fun either way with it. Brittany Hodak, thank you for being here. You are the absolute best, and I just appreciate it so much. Excited about the book. For those of you watching, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want some info on Inspire, reach out to me. I'll tell you. Otherwise, she gave you the plan. Let's go implement and make it happen. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.